Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Panessa. I am the Chair of the Administrative Appeals Board, and I hereby call the regular meeting of the Administrative Appeals Board for July 26, 2023 to order. Board Secretary, could you please call the roll?
Board Member Vasily,
Here.
Stephen Moses,
Here.
Board Member Sinclair,
Here.
Vice Chair King. Here. And Chair Panessa.
Here.
5 members present.
Thank you. Our first item on the agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Board can discuss and may amend the order of the agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion and a second for acceptance of the agenda.
So moved. I'll second it.
Thank you. Board Secretary, can you please take the vote?
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Vasily,
Aye.
Board Member Sinclair,
Aye.
Vice Chair King. And Chair Panessa.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This time is set aside for members of the public to address the board on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of this board. 3 minutes will be assigned to each speaker, and although the board values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, the board generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Testimony for hearings will only be taken at the time of each hearing. Board Secretary, could you please begin the public comment period?
We do not have any registered public commenters.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is our annual election of chair and vice chair. City Clerk, if you could please conduct the election.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just go through briefly the process for this procedure. Pretty much it says we have one nominee. If we have one nominee, one person is nominated. The presiding officer, after ensuing that no other member present wishes to nominate anyone further, we will simply declare that nominee elected by unanimous consent. If there's more than one nominee, the candidates are voted in the order in which they were nominated, and we will take the majority votes from there. If the first to receive a majority votes will automatically take that seat. Okay, we have any questions in reference to it?
Nope.
No. All right, well, I will open the floor for nominations for chair for the committee of the appeals board. Anybody have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Mr. Sinclair for chair.
Mr. Sinclair has been nominated. Is there anyone else that would have a nomination for chair?
How have the nominations be closed?
We'll accept that motion as the nominations that will be closed, and Mr. Sinclair will automatically become, by unanimous consent, the chair of the appeals board. Congratulations, Mr. Sinclair.
Is that right? How about sympathy?
You'll enjoy it.
Well, I've watched Michael with great aplomb do this for the last 3 years, 4 years.
So I feel like it's time somebody else carried it.
I thought he liked it.
Yeah, he quickly elected chair. He quickly did that. I was like, what's going on? Okay, so the nominations now will be open for the vice chair of this committee. Anybody would like to nominate anyone as vice chair?
I'll nominate Michael Panessa.
Oh,
Need a good backup.
do we have any other nominations for vice chair? I'll repeat it again. Do we have any other
I move
nominations?
the nominations be closed.
I'll accept your motion as that nomination for the vice chair. And Mr. Michael, you did not get on easy. Select you as the co-chair of the appeals board. And with that, we'll close the nomination period for chair and co-chair. Welcome aboard, all of you again.
Thank you.
My favorite summer.
Congratulations. Good job.
Absolutely.
So before I hand it over to Mr. Sinclair to lead this meeting, I just want to say we have a new member of the appeals board present. Mr. David Parker, who's sitting in the back.
And Miss Patricia's on Zoom.
Oh, and Miss Patricia is on Zoom. Welcome. They will both be, my understanding is alternate members. So welcome to the appeals board. Mr. Sinclair, I will hand that to you. Your part is in blue. It is all yours.
Okay,
You're on page 2.
and I can read.
Go to page 2.
Yes, sir. He's already telling me what to do. Our next item on the agenda is item 5 concerning the property located at 275 East Tukwala Road. Is the appeal of a $5,000 fine and administrative decision that Alexander Kormachev is permanently eligible to operate a vacation rental in Palm Springs. Board Secretary, please ensure the city staff and appellant understand that their testimony is under oath.
We do have signed affidavits from city staff and appellant. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Staff, please present your report.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, city staff joining us in the meeting this evening or this afternoon, and residents and public joining us this afternoon as well. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you this afternoon is a staff report relating to the property 275 East Chuckwalla Road. It was found that this property was operating a vacation rental without a valid vacation rental certificate. The staff report does include elements that led to the issuance of the citation. And additionally, the code officer that investigated the property, which then led to the issuance of the citation, is here to provide further testimony of what led to the investigation and the issuance of the citation. And I would like to invite the code officer to the table to provide further evidence. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, members of the board, my fellow city staff, members of the public present for this evening's hearing. My name is Jason Whitaker. I'm a code compliance officer with the city of Palm Springs. On Thursday, January 12th, 2023, while conducting a review of available rental listings on the web-based booking platform Airbnb.com, I came across an advertisement in the city of Palm Springs titled Standalone House / Spanish Casita Palm Springs, which can be found as attachment number 5 in the staff report. While reviewing the advertisement, it stated that the entire 4-bedroom property was being offered for up to 10 guests. I was unable to find a city ID number on the advertisement as required for a registered vacation rental property. So I reviewed the photos contained within the ad, and I was able to positively identify the property address as 275 East Chuckwalla Road. Upon review of the city's vacation rental registration records, I confirmed that the property identified did not hold a vacation rental registration certificate. I then sent a message via the Airbnb.com contact host feature, which can be found in attachment number 6 of the staff report, inquiring about a 2-night stay arriving Friday, January 20th, 2023, and departing on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. My message stated, "Hi there, looking to book for a birthday weekend getaway. How far is the pool and spa at the other property mentioned in your ad, and do I have to pay extra to use it? Thanks." The host, Palm Springs, responded to my inquiry with the following unique response. "It's at the adjacent complex, which is right next," and they said store, but it should be door. "The pool is not heated though." I sent the following response to the host. "Okay, thank you for that. Is it still available for January 20th or the 22nd, 2023? Subsequently, after sending my message, I received an invitation to book for a stay at the property for January 20th through the 22nd, 2023, which can also be found in attachment number 6 of the staff report. As a result of my findings within the advertisement, the unique response to my inquiry, as well as the host invitation to book for a 2-night stay, I found the property located at 275 East Chuckwalla Road was in violation of PSMC 5.25.040A, operating a vacation rental without a vacation rental registration certificate. And I issued an administrative site number AB 0454 to the property owner on title Alexander Korchmarith. That will conclude what I have to present. I will hand it back over to Patrick, and I'm available if you have any other questions for me.
Mr. Clifford, anything else?
I'm nothing further, Chair. Thank you.
This time I would like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who speak on this appeal hearing shall have up to 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant shall be invited to provide rebuttal for up to 2 minutes. Board Secretary, please begin the public testimony.
Can I say, do we have a chance to ask
Oh, I'm
questions?
sorry, I'm new. Mr. Whitaker, would you like to? Mr. Panessa has a question.
I did, so looking through, all of the pages of the staff report. I saw on a page, I'm trying to get back to it here, that there were, I believe it said 42 reviews, but those pages are cut off. Yeah, 42 review, oh, for other places. So there's no reviews for this one, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your request was for just a 2-day rental. And, the, owner of the property or host actually accepted your request.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Questions? Thank you, Ms. Whitaker. And now we come to the appellant's turn for up to 10 minutes to speak.
We do have a signed affidavit from the appellant that's in person.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may come up.
You have that button to turn it through.
If you would, please state your name, and then you have your 10 minutes.
Can you do it?
No,
No, it's just on recording. We
Oh.
don't need it. You're good.
Just need to speak up.
Speak up.
Hello,
Yeah, okay, you're fine.
and thank you, Chairman Sinclair and members of the board for giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm supposed to wear these things, but I can take them off. I don't want to be disrespectful.
it's up to you.
Up to you. You need them on.
It's not disrespectful. That's what they told me I have to after
Okay.
procedure, but I can take them
You're
off.
fine.
Thank you. Where do I begin? So, my wife and I have been coming up to the valley for years. We have a vacation home, which is the 275 Chuckwalla little casita that is in question we're talking about. And due to health problems, she's been sick with lupus for quite a few years, and I would say in the last 5 years, her symptoms have gotten significantly worse, and we haven't been able to travel. And we needed some help in order to maintain the property up here in Palm Springs. So we enlisted some folks that unfortunately ended up taking advantage of us. Originally, it was a gentleman by the name of Al Ramirez who rented a property from us and was meant to be a form of a groundskeep, and he brought on some other folks by the name of Scott Pettigrew, who is I think fairly well-known person who was a convicted murderer. He had killed somebody shortly after having lived in our place. And then another person came on board, all referred by the gentleman Al Ramirez, Claude Manley, who we rented to, who was meant to take care of our place for us and oversee repairs and whatnot, and had no idea that this was going on. But ultimately, it was being advertised as a vacation rental property, and the first I heard of it was when I got a citation. I want to commend the officers for their professional and good work, and I guess finding this out, which I guess was no easy task. And they discovered it, they sent us the ticket, and I contacted Airbnb, squared it away, sent them deeds, and showed them ownership of our property, and they took everything off. Luckily, there were no bookings, nothing had happened, nobody had stayed at the place, there was no exchange of financial finances or money or anything of that sort. I wrote this and I emailed and sent it to the appeals board. Hoping for your kindness and understanding about the situation. Expressing that we had no intention ever of running a vacation home for rent from our home. In fact, it's been under remodeling even during the times that were mentioned as bookings. It was not habitable. It was gutted. There's still construction going on there. There's no way for anybody to stay there. I'm thinking that one of the reasons that the Mr. Manley wasn't able to stay there was because there was no climate control. It's 120 degrees indoors. There's no way to stay there. There's no way for anybody to have been able to stay there. Even in January, I have photographs of construction going on at the location. I believe that at the end of the day, somebody was trying to defraud the public, defraud people, and use us as ultimately the scapegoats for what happened. And this is why I'm here to appeal to the board for leniency or understanding or something. We profited nothing of this. We've had nothing but heartache and problems associated with having introduced people in our naivety into our lives that were meant to help us and at the end hurt us.
Anything else?
Just wanted to add that we don't plan to, nor have we ever planned to, and nor do we intend to run any vacation rental properties in Palm Springs. I'm a firm believer in maintaining the culture of the unique Coachella Valley that I don't think should, on a personal level, include a vast array of vacation rental homes for people rent them for parties and whatnot and create a lot of tumult and hubbub around for people that want to enjoy their peaceful retirement. I'd be happy to answer any
Yeah, we'll do.
questions for the board.
Thank you, Mr. Kirchner. Anybody have any questions? Board members? Stephen?
I do. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
this is a comment more than a question. But I think we have a very high bar or a low bar on determining when there's a violation. This one, it seems to me, is not a violation. It was not intended, it wasn't habitable. It was done without any authority to do it by someone not related to the ownership. I think in this case, the decision should be overturned.
Mr. Panessa?
So I have a couple of questions for you. You had said in your testimony, you referred to renting out the casita.
That's, I called our little house the casita.
Okay, so it is the whole house, not like a home share. It's a,
No, what it is 1940s. One of the original Coachella Valley properties that was intended as a bungalow for some of the folk that used to service and work in the hotels, in the construction industry that was the precursor to the mid-century boom that happened. So it's not an Alexander home. It isn't an Albert Fry architectural home. It's a little Spanish style bungalow that predated all of those. And we've loved it for many years. And it's unfortunate that we can't use it because of my wife's health.
okay, but, okay, so you refer to this house as a casita, but it's really a single family home.
It is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, Spanish style, older Palm Springs home.
Okay, great. Okay, so in the city reports, there is a back and forth between the city and somebody whose name is listed as Palm Springs.
I have no idea, but I suspect I know who that is. I suspect this is Claude Manley.
And he's the property manager, or there's the
He
person
is.
you would employ
That's the
to,
person who I employed and trusted with preparing the property, taking care of it for us while we're away, staying at the property, who had
And then my last question is, so there's a variety of photos on here. You said it was not inhabitable. But are these, I don't know if you've seen the
Those are
photos.
old satellite photos and Google photos. I've seen some of those photos. They were sent to me by your officers.
Mhm.
So this was the house as how it was, I would say 3 years ago.
So are these
That's
your
not-
photos or are they,
They are not my photos. That's how the house looked 3 years ago. I have no idea.
how long have you owned it?
12 years.
Okay. So, but it looked like this when you owned it,
used to
so,
Look like that. I have no doubt that that's the place.
okay,
That's the place. No question.
so, okay, okay, and it is your testimony that this person put it up on the website.
That's what I believe from my inquiries. When I contacted Airbnb, I had no idea that this was going on. The only way this could have been going on is if somebody had presented to the third parties that they were the legal resident of the place and were using it for these purposes. And the only person that had documentation for that is this gentleman, Claude, who had a rental agreement from me. That is true. He did have a rental agreement. That's fact.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Ms. Kane, Mr. Vasili.
You pulled up something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's just, the listing is just confusing, it says like 4 bedrooms
There aren't 4 bedrooms.
and 2.5 baths.
There aren't 2.5 baths.
But you've seen these pictures of the interior.
The living room is the place, yes, or how it was. There's 2 bedrooms. I don't know where they got extra bathrooms, and I even saw that there was supposed to be for how many people. I already
10.
forgot. 10. I couldn't keep our, I mean, with our 2 dogs and my wife and I, it was crowded.
Hmm.
The biggest issue, of course, with the place has always been climate control. Because it had the original swamp pool, it wouldn't cool anything.
Anything else, Ms. Kane?
No, thank
Mr.
you.
Vasili?
I'm just confused with the pictures because as I look through them, they reference a bedroom 1, then a bedroom 3. And so, yeah, it's just very confusing.
As it is for me, there's 2 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms.
So. Okay, no, I don't have any other questions. I'm sorry. Just gonna leave it at that.
Last month, we had asked for an opinion and council had provided an opinion on this topic. Could you summarize that in a minute or less for us so that everybody understands what that opinion was? We had 2 members who weren't here last month. I think they probably read it. I'd just like you to review that so everybody knows.
Yeah, let me, so the gist of the opinion is that, under the municipal code. Can you hear me?
This don't-
These
Not
aren't,
really
these aren't
It's
micro,
different this time.
they're not microphones,
okay.
they're just to record.
It normally
Got it, okay.
reject, I'm gonna ask IT to turn it up because it is.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, just wanted to make sure. So as you would have seen in the opinion, under the municipal code, the violation provisions, state that any person, any owner cannot operate a vacation rental without a certificate. What we saw in reviewing the ordinance, and I say I reviewed it, Jeff did as well, is that the language that is used in the municipal code does not require any personal knowledge or intent on behalf of the owner to, in order for a violation to be present. It's essentially strict liability. There are a few cases we found as well in researching that align with, the fact that code violations such as this are strict liability offenses that don't require intent on behalf of the owner or any personal knowledge on behalf of the owner to establish a violation. I'm sorry, I can't, I don't have it in front of me right now, but that's the gist of the opinion. We did, in the opinion, I say, I acknowledge that the board has had concerns about this issue in the past. Unfortunately, it isn't the board's role to create any exception, or any special waiver of the liability under the code. If to the extent that that's a concern, landlords have other recourse that they can take against their tenants or agents in order to perhaps prevent this from happening, or in the event that something does happen and it's a breach of the agreement, the rental agreement, then that's something that they, can follow up on. But unfortunately, the city can't provide any legal counsel to any particular owner. And so that's something that owners have to explore on their own.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there discussion? Any further discussion on that? If not, may I have a motion?
I move we dismiss the charges.
And before we get to motions, so
Yeah,
as
discussion.
part of a discussion. So and you said you saw a photo, so I'm digging through here. I guess what I'm trying to grasp or get a grasp on is, if this was really fraudulent, somebody setting up an ad that wasn't the owner. And I'm seeing I think I saw bedroom 3 and maybe another one that said bedroom 2. The reason I'm asking or bringing this up as discussion for the board is, as a 2-bedroom house, whoever did this ad, it appears to me that they were really trying to defraud whoever would book it. And while I understand the ordinance holds the owner accountable, it does appear like this was fraudulent.
So do we have can we ask council on a response to that? I mean, if it,
Yes, what I will say is that it's the board's determination to, to determine if there was actually an operation in violation of the code. I've advised you, the advice that I've given you is strictly in instances in which there was actually an operation of the home, and in which case, you might consider whether the strict liability applies. I would say that while I still, maintain that the board cannot make any special exemptions in the instances in which it determines that there has been a violation. It is certainly in the board's purview to determine whether a violation occurred in the first place, that being the actual operation and advertisement for
So-
operation.
If I can ask a question of what you're saying to make sure I understand it, maybe this is what you're getting at.
yes,
If we decided, say hypothetically, that we believe this was not the owner, that this was a fraudulent act by somebody, then we would have to, I guess, choose to overturn, because we're not rewriting the ordinance. We would have, our option is to overturn.
It sounds like, if I might, saying this may not even meet the definition of operating a vacation rental. If the ordinance uses the word, then that's, I think, what I heard you say.
Yeah,
But the ordinance says, the hard part, I think, for us is the ordinance says advertising is operating.
But
Says what?
It
it's
says
not
that
clear that this is actually
advertising is
advertising
the
that
same as operating.
yeah,
location.
I would say that the code and the administrative regulations are silent with respect to what the board must do in the case where it determines that the advertisement itself was fraudulent.
Okay,
Yeah, I think fraud overrides this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's clear the person was just looking for money. And it was,
because there's too many
It's fine.
discrepancies. in
yeah,
the-
there's just too many.
pictures and-
Fine.
The ad itself.
Any other discussion? Stephen, I believe you. have
My
a
motion is on the floor to overturn. It needs to be seconded by.
Yeah, someone will second that, I'm sure, if not, I will. So a motion's been made to dismiss the citation. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there further discussion? Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Kane,
Aye.
Board Member Vasili,
Hi.
Vice Chair Panessa,
Aye.
and Chair Sinclair.
Aye.
Passes 5-0 to overturn.
Confused you, didn't I? Mr. Korchmar, we have dismissed your the case against you, and you're free and clear, and good luck and good health to you and your wife.
Thank you, Chairman Sinclair, and to all of the board members for your compassion and understanding. And you won't hear a peep out of me again. Thank you, Kyler. Thank you. Thank you, council. Thank you for your. These folks are really doing it.
Next is item 6, concerning the property of 2205 South Oak Crest Drive. Is an appeal of a $5,000 fine and administrative decision of Stephen Berm, Victor Olvera, and Michael Freiberg are permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. Board Secretary, please ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand their testimony is under oath.
We do have a signed affidavits from city staff, and the appellant is online. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. To begin.
Mr. Clifford, please present your report.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, city staff joining us this afternoon, and residents, public joining us this afternoon. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance. We oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you this afternoon is a staff report of the property located at 2205 South Oak Crest Drive here in Palm Springs. It was found that this property was operating as a vacation rental without a valid vacation rental certificate. The elements that led to the issuance of the citation are included in your staff report. And additionally, I do have the code office that investigated and issued the administrative citation here this afternoon, and I'd like to invite the code officer to the table to provide further testimony. Thank you.
Mr. Whitaker, welcome back, and state your name, please, for the record.
Sure. My name is Jason Whitaker. I'm a code compliance officer with the city of Palm Springs. Good evening again, board members, fellow city staff, and members of the public present for tonight's hearing. My name is Jason Whitaker, as I just stated. On Thursday, March 9th, 2023, while conducting a review of available rental listings on the web-based booking platform Airbnb.com, I came across an advertisement in the city of Palm Springs titled Modern Sunrise, Bright and Peaceful Condo, 6 pools, jacuzzis, tennis, pickleball, and barbecue. Mouthful. Which can be found as attachment number 5 in the staff report. While reviewing the advertisement, it stated that the entire 3-bedroom property was being offered for up to 6 guests. I was unable to find a city ID number on the advertisement as required for a registered vacation rental property. So I reviewed the photos contained within the ad, and I was able to positively identify the property address as 2205 South Oak Crest Drive. Upon review of the city's vacation rental registration records, I confirmed that the property identified did not hold a vacation rental registration certificate. I then sent a message via the Airbnb.com contact post feature, which can be found in attachment number 6, inquiring about a 4-night stay arriving Thursday, April 20th, 2023, and departing on Monday, April 24th, 2023. My message stated, "Hi there, beautiful condo. We're looking to book for a birthday week getaway, and I just wanted to ask if we are allowed to use the tennis courts at the property. Also, is the pool still heated in April? Thanks." The host, listed as arrived, responded to my inquiry with the following unique response: "We heat our pools to 86 degrees. If you would like it warmer, we can charge $50 per day for pool heat. Yes, there is use of the tennis courts. Thank you, Crystal. I sent the following response to the host. Great, thanks. Is April 20th through the 24th, 2023 still available? Subsequently, after sending my message, I received a follow-up response from Arrived. It is. I then sent a follow-up response to the host. Okay, it was giving me an error when trying to choose those dates, to which the host replied, that's odd. I'll double check. You may want to book through us directly. Jessica, and then Arrived. The host did not extend an invite to book. However, they confirmed that the dates of April 20th through the 24th, 2023 were available to book for a short-term stay at this property. As a result of my findings contained within the ad, the unique response to my inquiry, as well as the host's written confirmation that the dates were available to book a 4-night stay, I found the property located at 2205 South Oakcrest Drive was in violation of PSMC 5.25.040A, operating a vacation rental without a vacation rental registration certificate, and I issued administrative citation number AB 0495 to the property owners on title Stephen Burnham, Victor Alvera, and Michael Friedberg. This will conclude what I have to present. I will hand it over to Patrick, but I am available to answer any questions if needed.
Mr. Clifford, anything further?
And nothing further, Chair. Thank you.
Questions of Mr. Whitaker?
Does this community have a rental restriction?
So speaking with the HOA, they, from my understanding, they do allow short-term vacation rentals. Obviously with prior consent that from the homeowner that's what they're going to be doing. They know they have to provide a letter to the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I do. So when you like asked or said, not letting me book those dates, is that just like part of the back and forth, or like what is the intention there?
So there's times when they'll just not respond any longer. So if I continue to engage, I'll throw out that there may be an error with the booking system.
Okay, but that wasn't actually the case. I mean,
No.
you didn't, okay.
No.
Okay.
So you had said the HOA allows short-term rentals, obviously with a letter proving that. Do you know if this HOA has a minimum? You know, like some have a minimum of 7 days, some 14, some 30, whatever.
Sure. So they didn't get into specifics with me. I just spoke with them last week. It's White Star Management Group. They were going through a transition with their HOA board as well. So I was hoping to try to speak with someone on the actual board and not just the management company that oversees it.
Sure.
But I didn't have any such luck.
So, and I'm not sure how relevant this is, but I'm a little confused. This is in an HOA, but it's a house with its own pool.
No, so it's a freestanding condo from what I could gather. So that struck me as odd as well, that they were willing to charge me extra for.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was getting
It's a
confused
communal-
by.
It's a community pool. Yeah, it doesn't have its own. pool
Okay.
or spa.
And, but and correct me if I'm wrong, your intent with questions like that is to see if you're getting a personalized response versus an automatic.
Yes,
automated.
sometimes it's just an automatic invite to book, other times it's just left open. And then sometimes they'll circle back the same day or maybe a day later and then they'll ask if I'm still interested in booking, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything, Mr. Moses?
No.
Any other questions? Then we'll dismiss Mr. Whitaker and we'll open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who wish to speak on this appeal hearing shall have 3 minutes to speak. Any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal of up to 2 additional minutes. Board Secretary, please begin the public testimony period.
The appellant is online, Catherine Williams. Under testify, under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept knowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You may begin.
So Ms. Williams, as you start, I know you're not one of the three appellants. Would you tell us what your position and relationship to them is as you start?
Absolutely. I'm Catherine Williams. I'm actually a consultant for Arrived, the property management company. I'm local representation for them as they are not actually in the state of California. I've been in the industry since 2007, so they keep me on board. I used to be employed with the management company that was the previous owner of the management company. So I help with all of the permit renewals, all of the applications. I do all of that for Arrived.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Proceed.
So this homeowner used to manage their own rentals, but they never had short-term rentals. And actually, the owners were under the understanding that short-term rentals were not even allowed in this community. There was an update in Streamline, which is the software that Arrived uses. In the update, when it's done for pricing, someone has to manually override for all of the properties that do not take short-term rentals. This past update, nobody did that for this property. So in essence, it was pushed out as a short-term rental. I do kind of question whether, I'm sorry, Mr. Whitaker, when he said it didn't go through, if there actually was maybe an opportunity for someone to try to book it if it wouldn't go through, because it is set up as a long-term rental. As soon as the citation was issued to the owners, they immediately contacted Arrived, were up in arms, didn't understand what was happening. They hired the management company so that this type of thing didn't happen. They wanted management. They didn't want to do it themselves. Once they heard this, they told Arrive, please just cancel any reservations that you have for our property, whether it be long-term or short-term. They wanted to have the appeal first, even though, as I understand it, this is for short-term rental. So if they would have taken a long-term rental, they would have been within their rights to do so without a permit. If you look at an attachment, I think that you all have access to it. There is a list of cancellations. It's entitled Canceled Res Modern Sunrise.
It's the additional materials for items.
Sorry, there's
Yeah,
probably
That
5.
came in this morning. It's not on your computer.
It is on our
It is.
Oh,
computer.
it is on it? Okay.
It's not on.
So I wanted to attach this as just a visual proof that these owners are not intentionally trying to rent short-term. They had no intentions at all of even getting a short-term rental permit on this property. Again, it was their understanding that they couldn't even do that. So this was the management company. It was their software. It was an error. They did not manually override like they should have. Now, I want to address the communication that was had with Officer Whitaker and 2 different people. It looks like first he talked to Crystal, and Crystal is not, again, in California. They have other properties. This management company has properties in Hawaii. It has properties in, I believe, Seattle, in Oregon. So a lot of these people answering these phone calls do not know what each property, if the system allows them to do it, they will book it, which is why it's really important that the manual override be done. Otherwise, someone can book the property. As a response to this citation, I don't know if you're able to pull up the listing, but the listing now reads 30-day minimum actually in the listing, just so that nobody else is confused. This property has never earned any income. through short-term rental. In fact, they would have earned income through these long-term rentals, but they decided to cancel them all. Since I talked to them, I want to say it might have been in April, I did let them know that legally they can rent long-term. They did take, I think, one booking, and that is in the attachment here, sorry. In the revenue report. And sorry, the left screen is just a duplicate of the right screen. There is a booking 101935 for 23,955. I did open that booking and I sent it as an attachment as well, so that you can see the dates, because you can't see it here on this report. Let me see what that's called. Long-term LT booking 0124. That's a screen print. And it shows that that check-in is the 19th of January, 2024 through April 12th, 2024. So these owners know they're never going to ask for a short-term rental permit for this property. However, they are appealing the fact that they can't ever have a short-term rental permit. They may find that later in the future they want to purchase another home. They're not people that are trying to earn money under the radar. They want to follow rules. This was absolutely an error on the management part.
Is that all you have?
That is, yes.
Questions from the board? Mr. Panessa?
So in the communication between the city and the management company, both Crystal and Jessica are employees.
They have arrived, yes.
Okay. And I guess it's your testimony that they didn't know either the property or the rules, but one of them accepted, or basically said, when asked if it was available for that 4-day, said it is. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's because when she put the dates in on her system, because the manual overrides didn't take, she saw that it did actually accept the dates.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else, Mr. Vasili?
So this is more of a comment than a question, but this work, I'm gonna lean towards our guidelines, and that is the homeowner is still responsible, even if they hired the management company. The fact that the management company doesn't know what's going on locally is really your concern. It's your problem, not the homeowners. They're gonna have to go after you for whatever they need to. But for us, the guidelines clearly state that if they hire a management company, they're still responsible. So I can ask you why you guys didn't update your system in a timely manner that caused this problem to your client.
And I wish that I could actually answer that, but I don't do any of the day-to-day for Arrived. I'm not even, so I would wrongfully answer that question. All I can do is make an observation, having worked with the company for so long. They are always changing integrations. They're adding, different, like Guest Ranger on the screen. That's something that checks background on guests. They're always trying to be ahead of everybody else. And I feel like because they have so many properties, it's kind of a downside to having multiple properties. If this citation actually is what opened up their eyes to the fact that the manual override didn't happen. It was human error. They tried to rely on automation, but in this instance, automation without the manual override did not serve them very well at all.
Thank you.
Ms. Kane or Mr. Moses?
No question.
I just would have a question as to if the owners feel that having the right to operate as short term in the future is the reason they appealed, why are they not talking to us? Why do they have you represent them?
Well, Arrived themselves have me just because, again, I'm more familiar with local government. I've been, I've operated within this industry since 2007.
And I get that, it's not really about Arrived. You've expressed to us that the owners want the ability to do something in the future, and we're sitting here trying to decide whether that's something they're going to be allowed to do, yet they aren't even here talking to us, and I'm just don't know that is really an answer to that question, but
Right,
Make-
no, I
make a
understand.
point.
I understand. I feel like the reason why they were kind of leaving it to Arrive, they probably don't know that it's me. They probably figure it's, somebody from Arrived. They're leaving it for Arrive to appeal it because they feel like Arrived is responsible for
Well-
the citation.
unfortunately, the code doesn't say that to that extent, and I think you get that, so I have nothing further.
Any other discussion?
I just think the key words were arrived as responsible.
Is there a motion?
So before we motion, while it sounds like this was Arrive's mistake, I mean, the ordinance is pretty clear.
Yeah.
It's the owner's responsibility.
And I'm sure Arrive's gonna agree to pay the fine if there's.
I'm not going to agree or disagree to that.
It was a, rhetorical, not a question. Is she done with her?
Yeah, we're done.
So if we're discussing amongst ourselves, I guess my feeling is, it's unfortunate when somebody chooses a management company that doesn't, whatever their systems are, puts them in a precarious position, but the ordinance is pretty clear that's the owner's responsibility, or the buck stops with the owner.
And that said, I propose we uphold the fine and the suspension.
Are we ready?
I'll
For a
second it.
motion? Yeah. Mr. Moses moves and Mr. Basili seconds the motion to uphold the fine and the ban. Any further discussion? Yes, I'm gonna do that here. Hold on, Catherine. Does the clerk, please call the roll.
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Vasili,
Aye.
Board Member Kane,
Aye.
Vice Chair Panessa,
Aye.
and Chair Sinclair.
Aye,
Motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution upholding.
you can advise your clients that the fine and the citation have been upheld, and that the city will be in contact with them about the payment of the fine. So we can move on unless, does anybody need to stretch for a minute?
All right.
Are we good?
Mhm.
Okay, let's go on then to turn my bifocals on. And we'll go on to number 7. This is the concerns of property at 3605 East Verona Road. Appeal of a $2,500 fine and administrative decision of a 6-month suspension of the vacation rental certificate. Board Secretary, would you please ensure that the city and staff and appellant understand their testimony is under oath?
We do have signed affidavits from city staff. I'm not sure if the appellant's here or on Zoom. Anyone on Zoom who desires to testify under this appeal hearing, under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Are the appellants in the room? Are they online?
I don't have them online.
No appellants? Well. And we haven't heard.
So what do we do, Counselor?
Well, we go ahead and hear it.
Yep.
Mr. Clifford, would you present the report?
The appeal fails.
Yes, and we'll hear in a minute.
Well, maybe we should hear it.
We should
before you-
probably hear
We
it,
should hear it.
exactly.
Mr.
Yes.
Clifford,
Good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, city staff joining the call this evening, and residents and public joining us this evening as well. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you is a staff report for the property located at 3065 East Verona Road here in Palm Springs. Some background first on this property. This property is a registered vacation rental here in the city of Palm Springs as a start date of February 2nd, 2023. It was found that the owner for this property did not submit a contract summary as required by ordinance 2075 for each short-term rental stay that they take. Citation AB 0503 for failure to submit a contract summary to an enforcement official was issued by the code officer here with the city. Additionally, in your staff report is a review of the contract summaries that our office was able to put together, and that is attachment 6 in your staff report. The review of the contract summary data shows that 6 summaries have been filed as of July 15th, 2023. Starting with the first submission submitted on April 18th, 2023. This submission was after the event that occurred that led to the issuance of the contract summary citation. Additionally, what's unique that we found that a contract summary was later submitted for the event in question. And that date, that summary was submitted on May 5th, 2023, after the events that led to the issuance of the citation. The code officer that investigated the property that led to the issuance of this contract summary violation and citation that was issued is here this evening to provide further testimony of what event led to the investigation of the contract summary, which then led to the issuance of the citation. And I would like to invite the code officer to the table to provide further testimony. Thank you.
I think we're working Mr. Whitaker too hard here today.
Taking my steps in. Good evening, members of the board, my fellow city staff, members of the public with us for tonight's hearing. My name is Jason Whitaker, and I am a code compliance officer for the city of Palm Springs. On Saturday, April 1st, 2023, at approximately 1:28 p.m., I responded as the primary vacation rental enforcement official on call to the vacation rental property located at 3065 East Verona Road regarding a reported active nuisance complaint received in our office. Before responding to the property, I conducted a brief search through the city's file keeping database and could not locate a contract summary submission for a short-term guest stay for the time frame of when this complaint was received. Upon arrival at the property, and because of my previous investigation into whether a contract summary had been submitted, I contacted the occupants at the front door to determine whether the property was owner occupied or being rented short-term. While speaking with the occupants, it was confirmed that they had rented the property for a short-term stay via the booking platform Airbnb, and the responsible renter offered to email me a copy of the itinerary for her stay at the property in question. Following my response to the property, a second more detailed check for a submitted contract summary was conducted upon my arrival back to my office. And I was unable to locate a contract summary on file for the current guest stay. Upon review of the email from the responsible renter, which can be found in attachment number 5 of the staff report, it was confirmed that the property had been rented for the dates of Thursday, March 30th, 2023 through Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. As a result, it was found that the property located at 3065 East Verona Road was in violation of PSMC 5.25.070H by failing to submit a contract summary prior to this guest occupancy, and I issued them citation number AB 0503 to the property owner, 3065 East Verona LLC, care of Josu David Almeida Pozo. That will conclude what I have to present. I will hand it back over to Patrick, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions or anything further? Any questions of Patrick or Mr. Whitaker?
I do.
I do too.
Okay, that's why we're here.
Go ahead.
Have a good
So
time.
I want to understand the timing here.
There you go.
The stay in question was in March. Is that correct? March 30th to April 2nd?
Yes,
That's where you visited the property because there was a complaint about noise.
Yes, on the 1st of April is when I received the phone call.
Okay, and then I think Patrick testified that the contract summary for this day was submitted. So let me back up. You issued the citation, what day?
So that would have been issued on the same day as when I noticed that it wasn't submitted.
Do you remember what day that is? Just,
It would have been on Saturday, the 1st.
okay,
I might have held it. I don't have the copy of the citation.
okay, but it would have been submitted right away.
I have that. So the citation, the date of the violation is April 1st. It was actually issued April 13th.
Okay. And then, but I think Patrick, you said that it was submitted, the contract summary was submitted on 5/5.
Yes, that's correct. Uniquely, it kind of puzzled us. Our contract summary tool does not allow retroactive submissions.
That's what was.
And so when I ran
Jumped
the
out of
data to get a history, I noticed that there was a submission submitted on May 5th, 2023 at 10:19 for the dates March 30th, 2023 to April 2nd, 2023, which is retroactive to the submission date. So I don't know how that happened. I'm still trying to figure that out, but somehow a retroactive stay was submitted into the system.
Because in the packet where the appellant appeals, they had said they submitted it and a copy of it. But what we're learning is that it was submitted post. Somehow the system let it through.
That's correct. And that the table is a direct download of an Excel summary that's from our system jot form. And so I ran it by city ID and then exported that to an Excel sheet. And those are the summaries that are provided with the submission dates that are included in the submission.
Oh, so this has. So is the date all the way, submission date is all the way on the left.
The first column, yes.
Okay, so if I find the check-in date. It's the top one. Okay, I see you're saying there 5/5. All right, thank you.
I have a question. Can we consider an error made on April 1st, an April Fool's joke and not have it?
No,
No, okay.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm hearing you correctly, Patrick. The system. I'm trying to figure out how this sort of happened and the appellant, but he's not here and I don't know why we're maybe talking on his behalf, but sort of indicates as property manager that does these contract summaries. And if something was submitted and didn't make it through, I don't know how hinky the system is, like, but send one to him because he gets a copy. Then this whole thing happened and then they're like, oh crap, and they went back in and is that the notion here? The property manager, 'cause they're the ones that are working with the city system, but
Well, without them here,
I
I
know,
guess we
we
can't
can't.
really assume that, I'm going, my interpretation is that somehow it wasn't submitted.
yeah,
They got the citation and then they submitted it.
yeah. Bummer. Okay, we still don't have anybody online, nothing? No,
I don't
no?
think you can make an excuse for
I'm not
that's
sure.
an-
I'm trying, I'm just. Okay, well,
I
okay.
move,
you're done,
Yeah,
don't move
thanks.
it yet.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Clifford, Mr. Baker, any discussion?
So I guess from my perspective, my questions kind of led up to this. It seems like they got the citation and somebody said, as you said, oh no. And tried to submit it and for some reason the system let it, but that still means that there was not a submission.
Yeah, it doesn't cure it.
Or based on what we have in front of us.
Right,
And there's nobody here.
And they're not
speak
here to tell
on their
us
behalf.
that, oh, I had it, and it's dated, before March 30th. If they were here and had that, that would change my
May I
viewpoint. but-
ask Cassandra or whoever schedules these, how was this interaction with this appellant?
We send out 2 notices, so they have the one at the beginning of the month and then we do it before the 10 days. So we usually do it about 14 days before the hearing. They never emailed or responded back. We don't always hear from the appellants. They got their both notices and that's the only mailing address that we have on file.
But
along
they,
with their
they
emails.
requested an
They
appeal
requested, it. Of
requested
course
an
they
appeal.
did, sure.
because they paid for it.
They paid for it, yep.
And I'm done.
Okay, someone like to make a motion?
I would move we uphold the fine and suspension.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Agree.
I'll second.
Facility, I don't-
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Panessa,
Aye.
Board Member Vasily,
Aye.
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member King,
Aye.
and Chair Sinclair.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution upholding.
Chair. So if I use the rest from the.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll probably follow you then.
Take a break.
We'll take a
Take
recess
a 5-minute
till
recess.
5:45.
See if I can find where I am here.
Page 5. Item number 8.
The next is item A concerning the property at 1985 Marguerite Street is an appeal of a $2,500 fine and administrative decision of a suspension of a 6-month suspension of the vacation rental registration certificate. Board Secretary, please ensure city staff and appellant understand their testimony is under oath.
We do have signed affidavits from both city staff and the appellant that's in person. We can begin.
Staff, please present your report.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, city staff joining us on the call, and resident and public joining us on the call this evening. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance, and we oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you this evening is a staff report for the property located at 3065. I'm sorry, wrong address. Staff report regarding property address 1985 Marguerite Street here in the city of Palm Springs. The owners for the property do have a vacation rental certificate, and the official start date was July 1st, 2020. In the staff report shows that the owners for the property located at 1985 Marguerite Street were issued administrative citation AB 0510 for failing to submit a contract summary to the enforcement official as required by our vacation rental ordinance 2075 for a short-term stay that consists of any stays 28 days or less. As attachment 6 in your staff report is a review of the contract summaries submitted. The review of the summaries show that 24 summaries have been filed as of July 15th, 2023. Starting with the first submission submitted on January 12th, 2021. Additionally, in attachment 6, this property was under a contract summary audit in a few years back. There was a first letter dated December 29th, 2020 for failing to submit contract summaries for the month of 2020. A second letter was dated August 4th, 2021 for failing to submit contract summaries for the month of April 2021. Further review of these letters shows that the contract summaries were submitted in response to these letters, as the entries have similar submission dates. Additionally, the code compliance officer did obtain records for guest stays required by the municipal code, and those are in attachment 7. Just a little history regarding the letters that were sent out for past contract summaries audit is the Department of Special Program Compliance did attempt to reach out to owners and operators really with the focus of education regarding contract summaries. And we were able to identify properties that were operating short-term using tax data and compare that to see if contract summaries were submitted. And that was the real drive for what these notices were sent out. And we were able to identify by a per property identification, which properties did not do that. And so those were the 2 letters that were sent out. Was the intent is to further educate owners that the need and requirement to submit contract summaries. Further, the code officer that did the investigation on the property which led to this issuance of the citation is here this evening. And I would like to invite the code officer to further provide testimony on what led to the issuance of the citation and any additional testimony he may have. Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Whitaker. You made. Do we have any other people there anymore? Did you fire everyone, Patrick?
No, just Officer Whitaker is doing a really good job as far as enforcement.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Good evening again, members of the board, my fellow city staff and members of the public present for tonight's hearing. My name is Jason Whitaker and I'm a code compliance officer with the city of Palm Springs. On Saturday, April 15th, 2023 at 10:05 a.m., I responded to a short-term vacation rental hotline complaint for this property reference a possible vehicle occupancy violation. Prior to my arrival at the property, I conducted a search utilizing the city's record-keeping database to determine if a contract summary had been submitted for a short-term stay for the current date. I was unable to locate a submission in the system at that time. Upon my arrival to the property, I contacted the guest staying at the property after determining that an active violation existed with the guest renting the property, and a citation was issued to them. The guests were able to provide me with a copy of their booking itinerary from Airbnb for a 2-night stay, which can be found as attachment number 5 in the staff report. Subsequently, once I returned to the office, I performed a more thorough search and was unable to locate a contract summary submission for the current guest stay pursuant to the booking itinerary I was able to obtain from the guest. I then began a more extensive search for this property utilizing the city's record-keeping database to determine if there were any prior contract summary submissions for this property, and I was unable to locate any. As a result, I contacted the property owners and requested they send me their copies of the City of Palm Springs Vacation Rental Statement of Rules and Regulations forms, which can be found as attachment number 7 of the staff report, that are required for each short-term guest stay. Upon my review of the supplied documents, I was able to establish that the short-term guest stays were facilitated at this property without contract summary submissions for the months of November 2022 through April of 2023. As seen in attachment 6 in the staff report and also mentioned by Patrick, the property owners had been previously issued warning notices by the Department of Special Program Compliance dated December 29th, 2020, and again on August 4th, 2021, reminding them to submit contract summaries. As a result of my findings, it was found that the property was in violation of PSMC 5.25.070H by failing to submit contract summaries as required, and issued administrative citation AB 0510 to the property owners, Anna and Raj Bolsaraj. That will conclude what I have to present. I'll hand it back over to Patrick and I'm available for any questions.
Anything else, Mr. Clifford?
Just to clarify, if I did not during my testimony, that those letters that were mailed out in December and August are included as attachment 6 in your staff report.
Questions of the staff? Michael?
Remind me of what you said, in your research, did you say that there was no contract summaries from November to April?
Correct. I
Okay,
wasn't
so
able to locate any.
0, but do we know, was there tax paid during that period?
I do not have record if or anywhere. I did not check.
Okay.
This current period.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Mr. Clifford? At this time, I would like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any members of the public who desire to speak on the appeal hearing shall have up to 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal for up to 2 additional minutes. Board Secretary, please begin the public testimony period.
We do have signed affidavits and the appellant is in person. You can begin.
Please state your names for the record, and you have 10 minutes.
I have hearing problem brought on by medical treatment, so my wife is here to talk about.
I'll try my best. Good afternoon. Well, we are here.
Tell us your name for the record, your
Sorry.
names,
My name is Ana Maria Dulce Raj.
and who is with you.
My husband Raj Dulce Raj.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So, I don't have much to say really. I just wanted to, we mainly appeal this, when my husband has been having a really tough time for the last couple of years. Actually, it started back in November when I got the news. He didn't want to tell me, and I found out there was a lot of blood in the toilet after he went pee. And then I said, what is this? He says, well, it's nothing. It's been going on for a couple of, I said, how long it's been? He says, couple of weeks. And I said, but why you didn't tell me? Anyway, that was back in November and 2020. And so we went to the doctors and back in, they did a lot of tests, they did a biopsy. And back in March, we got the news that unfortunately it was positive, that it was cancer. And then he went through surgery, they removed the bladder, the tubing, part of the kidney actually, and the tube and part of the bladder. And then he went through a lot of chemo therapy. And unfortunately that did not help, because within a year we found out after they did that test that it had gone into the lungs and the hips and the pelvis. And so the doctor said, we have to change the treatment because obviously this did not work. So he went through a different treatment, and after a few months, he developed that side effects was that the doctor said it could be because of his skin condition. One of the side effects is that it's going to affect his skin. And unfortunately, because he already has the vitiligo, it did happen. He got a really bad situation in his whole body. It just happened. It was in September. And we went to a football game. He loves to go see the football game. And that day, all of a sudden, while we were in the game, he started having pain. And anyways, we had to hire a taxi to take us to our car because he just couldn't walk. And I said, what happened? All of a sudden, from the head all the way to the toes, it was all a huge rush. And then it started becoming like blisters. I rushed him to the hospital. That was on Saturday evening, and we went to the hospital on Sunday. And his doctor, the dermatologist, was on call. They took pictures, and then she saw us the very next day on Monday morning, and they did a lot of biopsy, a lot of tests, and then unfortunately it was a very bad skin condition that is bullocks pemphigonia. I think that's the name of that. And so they had to stop the treatment. They had to stop the treatment for the cancer, and the doctor said it could not give any more treatment until he completely heals from his skin condition, which it took over 9 months. So finally, thank God, he healed, and then we went through another PET scan. And thank God, after the PET scan, it was done. Yes.
Okay.
You need to state your name.
I turned over the duties because I could not handle to my son-in-law because he was willing to take over. But there was not a seamless transition from my part because I was too worried about my health. So I went ahead and did some training, but it was not a complete training. So I dropped the ball in the transition process. But he did a very good job in terms of continuing with the vacation rental, but eventually.
Yeah, we felt to do the file of the compliance. We were just going back and forth to the doctors and I was just concentrated on my husband's health and we just went back and forth to the doctors continuously. And so he is the one that really takes care of all the paperwork and everything else. I do all the I deal with the maintenance and talking to the people, but he pretty much does all the filing. Yeah. So.
So now we are feeling, based on the condition.
The thing is when we got the good news, finally, after the last PET scan, in April, it was done around April, beginning of April, 2023, and then we had an appointment with the doctor and in April 10 of 2023, and that's when we got the great news that he was cancer-free. Then the doctor she was so happy for us, and she says, just go home, go and celebrate, because this is a miracle. Even though the second treatment for the cancer was so short.
Remember, you have 10 minutes and your 10 minutes is
Yeah.
just about up.
I'm sorry, okay, so it did help. So when we came back from that short vacation that we took after the great news, we saw the letter from the city. And we went to the post office to pick up the letter, and right on the parking lot, we opened the letter, and that's when we came to know about the citation. So we came home really quick. We tried to file it, went back to the post office like 2 minutes before they closed to do their appealing and to file their. appeal.
Anything else?
No,
Okay,
thank you.
we have questions of the appellant?
No questions.
So I do, of course. Sorry to hear about your health issues, and I'm glad you're in the recovery. So I asked this question of the city. The city had said there was no contract submissions for the first, from November of 2022 through April of 2023. You had said, obviously, you're dealing with these health issues, but unfortunately, that doesn't absolve the city, the city's requirements. Were there rentals during that time?
The rentals that we had, I remember that day you tried to do the summary, remember, for all of them.
I
And
asked
you
my
sent it,
brother-in-law, my son-in-law,
yeah.
and he sent it, yeah,
and you
he
sent
sent
it.
all the contract summary.
So there were rentals
Yeah.
during that time,
There
some of
were.
which had submissions,
We had
possibly some did not.
not, but then he did,
Yeah.
when,
We did it all, we sent all the contract summary dating back whatever it was. We did
I
send it.
remember he sent it.
Okay, thank
He
you.
worked on that and he sent it. I think it was the same day. I mean, we were trying to do that.
Yeah,
I
same
remember
day.
that same day and all the way to midnight, we were working on that.
Any other questions from the
But
board?
it was all past summaries.
Yes.
not-
So you can see, yeah, I guess we see, there was a whole bunch of them issued on January 12th. For stays. Previous stays. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from any of the board members?
No questions. I have a question for council.
Sure.
Do we have any more leeway for compassion in this kind of violation than we have in the larger scale violation?
I mean, I want to bring up the language so I can cite to it, but my understanding, I previously reviewed this violation section is that it also is a strict liability of violation. I would like to point you to the specific language, so just give me 1 second, I will pull it up. So it's section 5.25.090. And this violation specifically, failure to submit a contract summary is subsection D. And what it states is any person who advertises a vacation rental without including the vacation registration certificate and any advertising for such vacation rental, or operates a vacation rental without a contract, or without providing the city with a summary or abstract of such contract prior to each applicable occupancy, or without timely tendering full monthly payments of monthly occupancy tax, shall pay a fine in the amount of $2,500, and the owner's vacation registration certificate shall be suspended for 6 months for a first offense, and shall pay a fine of the amount of $5,000, and the owner's vacation registration certificate shall be revoked for a second offense. So as you see from the language of the code, the violation, it also does not expressly require any knowledge by the owner or the person who is conducting the short-term rental or any willfulness on their part.
Any other questions?
No questions.
Thank you for your testimony.
Joel.
Discussion?
So, I guess I'll go first, if that's all right. It does seem, well, their situation is of course very sympathetic. There's been a pattern of not submitting contract summaries. And so, in my mind, that's an important part of the requirements of the city. There's an acknowledgement that they didn't submit them. If you look at the page of submissions, there, was kind of an, oh no kind of moment, because somehow the system is allowing,
Right, can you speak to that?
Yeah, gladly. So during that time when we were doing those audits specifically, we can remove that block because we wanted to get those records into the system. So when they received the letter, we did allow them to go in and do retroactive submissions
Okay.
at that time. That's why you can see
Okay.
that.
but, correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't absolve the requirements, so. I think they've acknowledged they didn't submit. So that's my 2 cents.
Any other discussion, Mr. Moses?
No.
We're ready for a motion. If someone would like to make a motion,
I move we uphold the fine and penalty.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Vasili,
Aye.
Board Member Kane,
Aye.
Vice Chair Panessa,
Aye.
and Chair Sinclair.
Aye,
Motion carries 5-0 to adopt the resolution of holding.
thank you. Your appeal has been denied. The city will be in touch with you regarding the fine and the time for the short-term suspension. So thank you for being here. The next item is approval of the minutes from June 28th.
I have to confess, I thought I wasn't here at that session, but I think I was, but I didn't read them. So I will abstain.
I don't think,
Well, there were only 2 of us here,
I know,
3
I.
of us
Oh,
here.
is that, well, then maybe I wasn't here.
You were.
You were here.
It
here.
was you, Patrick, and me.
That's what I was fumbling with it, yeah.
We can't, I'm not gonna vote, right? 'Cause I wasn't
Okay,
on
so-
here.
Patrick, you want to make a motion?
Can we, yeah, I was just.
I'll vote because I watched it online,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Oh, good for you. Okay.
So I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
I'll second, I was here.
you were. Discussion, all those in favor? Cassie?
Board Member Vasili,
Aye.
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Kane,
Abstain.
Vice Chair Panessa.
Aye.
And Chair Sinclair.
Aye.
It passes 4-0.
The next one is, and we've talked about this before, formation of a subcommittee to prepare draft recommendations to the city council regarding vacation rental ordinance updates. Cassie, do we have or somebody on our board, do we have we've done this before, 3 years ago. Do we have a copy of that anywhere?
Copy of
I
it.
think I forgot to look for it after the last time we talked about it. So I
And I
don't know.
think you would be a good person to be on that subcommittee.
I
to look at
agree.
it and then
Thank you.
see,
Unfortunately, I cannot be. So,
why is that?
we can talk about that later. but,
Okay.
Um,
I think in my mind, it just takes review of the past. I can't imagine that there's anything that's changed since then. So, why don't you send if Cassie can, why don't you send it to Cassie? And then we'll send it out and I'll ask for comments if anybody has any updating to do. If not, we'll send it back as we originally presented it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Does that meet the number 10 formation of a subcommittee? Is there a subcommittee?
Well, we can do a subcommittee of the whole.
My suggestion would be is, two of you, not me, take that report from last time, review it, see if you have any suggestions, changes.
I'll be looking at it for the first time because I don't think I ever had.
I'll volunteer.
Okay,
How, I'll volunteer. I'm not sure, Stephen, if you are gonna
yeah, all right.
have any longevity, but okay.
We'll let you
On this
two,
board, I meant, not in your life.
like I said earlier, I read something where he's allowed to be if he's. That you don't have to be a citizen of Palm Springs to be on the various commissions, and council can find out for sure, but I think that's correct.
I will not have moved by the next month.
Okay, so we're good for a month. And that's great. So if you will find out, or Michael, you
I'll
can
check,
send it
yeah.
to the two members.
Actually, I will send it to Cassandra,
Okay,
since we should not be communicating separate from this.
all right,
So just to clarify, it's Board Member Moses and Board Member
correct.
Chair Sinclair, you should entertain a motion to form.
Yeah, I will do that.
Consisting of them.
I was just a step behind you. So is there a motion we form a subcommittee to prepare draft recommendations for the city council regarding vacation rental ordinance that will consist of board members, my mind is just got black on both of you.
That's
Moses and
us.
Kane.
Thank you. So moved.
Wait till you're old. Second, all right. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Board Member Kane,
Aye.
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Basili,
Aye.
We have,
Vice Chair,
oh, sorry.
Vice Chair Vanessa.
Aye.
And Chair Sinclair.
Aye.
It passes 5-0.
So do you have any more comments from the board or requests? Then we'll move on to the city attorney's reports and comments. Council, anything from you this time?
Nothing further at this time.
City clerk's report on future meeting dates.
The next meeting is August 23rd at 4:30 PM, and that will be our last one at 4:30. September will begin again at 5:30
And you said we have 5 cases
for August, yes.
or 4, yes. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Sorry,
Anything else? I'm sorry.
That's it.
I don't think you need to move adjournment.
I don't think you do. All right,
It is adjourned.
we stand adjourned. Thank you all.